Chief reporter Kaveh Solokol has come back on set. Kaveh, oh my goodness, how do you react to that?
Well, look, the first thing you should say is that referees are human beings. They make mistakes like everybody else. They were working there in a very highly pressurised environment, and they made a mistake, and it was a big mistake, and the eyes of the world were on them, and now they are paying the consequences.
Arsenal endured yet another night of anger, disbelief, and frustration as a highly controversial VAR decision denied them what looked like an obvious penalty during their heated clash against Chelsea. What should have been a defining moment of the match instead became the spark of a new wave of debates about officiating standards in the Premier League. This wasn't simply a missed call, it was a moment that shifted the energy of the entire match and left Arsenal players, staff, and supporters feeling as though justice had been ripped away from them right when they were building momentum. The tension inside the stadium had been rising as Arsenal started to take control of the game in the second half. Their passing became sharper, their movements more coordinated, and Chelsea began to look increasingly uncomfortable as the Gunners pushed forward. It was during this spell of dominance that Arsenal crafted a brilliant attacking sequence, moving the ball quickly from midfield into wide areas before slipping a perfectly weighted pass into the penalty area. The Arsenal attacker, full of confidence and determination, drove toward goal with only one defender in front of him. The moment felt promising, almost scripted, as the Emirates crowd rose in anticipation. Then everything changed. As the attacker attempted to shift the ball onto his stronger foot, the Chelsea defender lunged in from the side. The challenge was late, desperate, and mistimed, catching the Arsenal player on the knee and hip. The contact was clear enough to knock him off balance and send him down naturally. The reaction from the crowd was instant, tens of thousands screamed for a penalty, convinced the referee had no choice but to point to the spot. Even Arsenal players paused, expecting a whistle that never came. Instead, the referee signaled for play to continue, a decision that stunned everyone in red. The protests began immediately. Arsenal players surrounded the referee, urging him to reconsider, to look at the screen, to acknowledge what everyone had seen. Chelsea's defenders, meanwhile, looked uneasy rather than confident, glancing toward the big screens as though they expected VAR to overturn the decision at any moment. The stadium buzzed with tension as the VAR check began, and supporters watched every replay with intense focus. Each angle made the challenge look worse: no contact with the ball, clear contact with the attacker, and an undeniable disruption of movement. Social media exploded during the check, with fans, journalists, and even neutrals calling it one of the clearest penalties of the season. Pundits described the incident as undeniable, blatant, and a challenge that would be given at any level of football. Yet after what felt like an endless delay, VAR ruled that the on-field decision would stand. No penalty. No review at the pitch side monitor. No explanation that made sense to anyone watching. The stadium erupted into deafening boos as players threw their hands up in disbelief. Arsenal's bench looked stunned, and even some Chelsea supporters appeared surprised at the decision. The emotional impact on the match was immediate. Arsenal's momentum slipped, and the frustration lingered in every misplaced pass and every 50-50 challenge that followed. Chelsea, buoyed by the escape, pushed forward with renewed confidence. The psychological shift was enormous, and the sense of injustice weighed heavily on the home side. Moments like these can change the rhythm of an entire match, and this was no exception. Arsenal, who had been building toward a breakthrough, suddenly had to wrestle not just with their opponents, but with a decision they felt had stripped them of a fair chance. After the match, Mikel Arteta chose his words carefully, avoiding direct condemnation that could lead to sanctions. But his tone revealed everything. He emphasized how such decisions can alter the course of games, seasons, and team morale. He pointed out how consistency remains a major issue in the league, where similar incidents often lead to penalties in other fixtures. Arteta's frustration echoed the feelings of every Arsenal supporter who watched the moment unfold. Across sports networks and online platforms, debates erupted instantly. Fans questioned how VAR, with access to multiple slow-motion angles, could conclude that the challenge was insufficient for a penalty. Analysts criticized the reluctance to send the referee to the monitor, calling it a failure in procedure and transparency. Many argued that the Premier League's use of VAR still lacks the clarity, consistency, and confidence needed to gain the trust of fans and players. For Arsenal supporters, this was not an isolated incident. It added to a growing list of controversial decisions that have gone against the team in recent months. Each new moment compounds the frustration, fueling a belief that major calls consistently fall the wrong way. A penalty here could have shifted the match entirely, perhaps even the result, and supporters feel that their team was robbed of that opportunity. Instead of discussing the tactics, the quality of play, or standout performances, the conversation after the match centered entirely around the penalty that never came. What should have been a competitive, thrilling Premier League fixture ended under a cloud of controversy. The sense of injustice will linger long after the final whistle, serving as another reminder that until officiating improves, VAR will continue to overshadow moments of real football brilliance. For Arsenal, the feeling is painfully clear: they fought, they pushed, they created the chance, but the decision that mattered most was taken out of their hands. And once again, fans walked away believing their team was denied a fair moment that could have changed everything.